So the course class of this evening starts nicely in child's pose. So just allow yourself to bring yourself down. And it's the end of the week, it's Friday evening, and it's really kind of up to you whether you take that child's pose with knees together, knees wide, whether you come down super low, if you bring your hands underneath your head, or take your hands out in front. It's your child's pose. So allow yourself to kind of listen to what your body needs, work with that, get all the fluffy bits off the mat. That'll help. And whew, hopefully I'll go down and still come back up again. So wherever you find yourself, see if you can just settle the breath. Let it ease into a natural rhythm for you. Just noticing how your back feels as it stretches lightly in child's pose if your knees are closer together. How your hips, knees and ankles feel. And maybe for the first time, taking a bit of a reality check and just seeing how your energy levels are at this time of the evening. And we'll let ourselves lift the head, take the hands out in front if they're not already, and lift up onto the fingertips. And then we'll take the hands around to the right side, still on fingertips. Let the head drop down as we rest onto that thigh, and then just try and walk the fingertips of the left hand a little further forward. So we're feeling the big stretch down the left side of the body. And then we'll walk the fingertips right over to the other side. Walk the right hand out that ½ inch further. Deliberately feeling the stretch into the armpit. Caused by latissimus dorsi getting a nice stretch, which feeds into the spine for the entirety of its length, which can lead you to feel a bit of a stretch down in the lower back areas as well. Take a last breath there. And on the exhale, we'll turn back to the center to lift up. And from that lift up position, we'll take a little surface stretch. So we're going to drop the arms down reasonably low, but the hands in line with the shoulders. So the shoulders just drop back. Left arm across, right arm underneath and lock. Draw the shoulder around for a couple of breaths, breathing into the back of that shoulder blade. And then we'll release out. Do it the same to the opposite side. And just noticing how the shoulders feel and how easy we're able to bring the arm across the chest. So we're looking to see if there's any stiffness there or tightness or difference between one side and the other. And then we'll release. Come forwards. Lovely little toe stretch. Yay. Tuck the toes underneath, sit back onto the heels. And as ever, if you're able to take a little extra weight, we come up to sitting. And we want the sitting bones and the heels connected rather than the heels rolling out to the side. You want them pointing up towards the ceiling a little. And then we'll bring the hands back down to the floor, and we'll bring the feet forward to the very front of the mat. So we're going to make sure the head is going to be on the flat on the floor. So feet are quite a long way down to the front of the mat. And as I rise, just going to take my right knee in towards my chest, lengthen the left leg out, and see if I can get my heel and back of the calf muscle to connect with the ground. That requires me to get my pelvis into a fairly specific neutral position. Toes of the left leg point up towards the sky, the foot is slightly flexed, the toes are slightly stretched out. That result of lengthening my legs out as I can feel my abdominal muscles draw in a little bit. And then I'm going to swap over and take that to the other side. So left knee in, right leg out. Take a little time to ease that out, especially if it's tight. And we'll release. Bring both feet back in towards the bottom again. We've got Supta Padangusthasana. Easier said than done. You're going to take the hands around the back of your left thigh and slowly stretch the heel towards the sky into that straight leg. And then once you arrive, you're going to slide the right leg out. So both legs are lengthening out through the heel. Again, we're trying to get the calf and heel on the bottom leg. We want the toes pointing up to the sky on the lower leg, and the toes pointing directly to our head on the higher leg. And we'll bring both feet back in. Swap over to the other side. So we interlace hands, we extend the leg up, we're pushing actually into the hands, that back of the thigh is lengthening away. The left leg lengthens out. Make sure you keep a nice long neck. It's very easy for it to start to crane, especially if you have got your hands high up around the back of the knee. It's better if you can bring it low down towards the groin. Both back, feet back in towards the body. We'll take the arms out wide, and we'll just take that into a supine twist. So letting the legs go over towards our right and the head to the left, keeping the shoulders on the ground. Fairly loose arrangement, just letting the legs hang down, looking for a relaxed rotation through the spine and letting the muscles relax into the shoulders a little bit too, just so we don't get sticky and bind up. We'll keep it nice and fluid. One more breath here. Draw the knees back. Realign if we need to. Take ourselves the opposite way. Bring knees back from there. I'm going to take the hands up towards the sky directly above the chest. Roll the shoulders down, draw the belly and the lower back into the floor. Bring the knees gently above the hips. Point the toes out, squeeze the thighs and extend the toes towards the sky. Ready for alternated legs and arms. So it's the right arm, left leg we start with. Avoid bouncing into the ground. We bring back up as slowly as we go down. We stretch out through the fingertips and the toes of both hands. Take one final right, left. One final left, right. And bend the knees and bring the feet really close in towards the bottom. Stay on the tippy toes. The hands come around the back of the head, just interlace slightly, and elbows out as wide as you can to touch the floor. And draw the chin towards the chest. Take a little breath, building up into a half boat. And draw the chest towards the thighs. Take the hands forward, squeezing the legs together. We extend out, and then lower the legs. And we'll lift ourselves back up. Hands around the back of the head. Lower it down. Bend the knees. So bring the feet to the floor. The arms out wide. Allow yourself to take the legs over to the right. This time you're going to squeeze the thighs together lightly. You're going to try and draw that top leg down a little bit, and we'll flex the toes towards the knees as well. A little stronger. Bring the knees back up to the center. Feet on the floor again. That's the second side. Once you arrive, squeeze your top thigh down a little bit. The feet flex. And we'll come back into the center. Whew. Take a little breath from there. Roll gently onto our right side. Use the hands to come back up. We're going to come into Dandasana, so the feet are out in front. Now, if you can, have your heels just a little bit in front of the mat so they're not on a sticky surface. And the reason for that will become apparent. So we're going to take the heels to press down into the floor. We've got a bend. I've got probably about 3 or 4 inches here underneath my knees. So it gives you some idea of that angle. I'm going to sit upright and just draw the flesh out a little bit on my tailbone. So Dandasana requires us to press the sitting bones down, lengthen the legs away. So we're going to do the lengthening away bit, but we're going to press down into the heels a little bit more. Keep the bend in the knee, press the sitting bones down, scratch our ear. That's very important. And then take the hands out to the side. Then I'm going to inhale the hands up towards the sky and try and keep the spine very flat. Now we're going to let our right hand go forwards down the center line and our left hand goes down the center line behind us. We're going to turn the body to the left. And as we do so, we're going to push through the right leg to take that forwards. And as we come back, we'll bring those legs back so the knees come back to the bent position. And we move the opposite way. So that left leg lengthens forwards. So as well as our torso moving, we're actually pressing one hip away, drawing it back, and swapping over the other side. So those heels could be traveling a couple of inches backwards and forwards with the rotation. And there'll be some funny noises if you've got a laminate floor or wooden floor. As your heels squeak around. We'll come back into the center. Let the hands come down, draw those heels in, wrap the ankles underneath. We're going to flick into plank and down dog. So just lifting up gently, walking the down dog out. Now you want to have your feet about hip distance apart and parallel. Pretty important for the next stage. You're going to lift up onto your tippy toes. Move one foot about 3 inches forwards, then draw the other foot about 3 inches forward and back. Do the same on the other side, keeping the legs straight and up on the tippy toes, and bringing your shoulders over your wrists, lifting your bottom high as you can. Coming forwards very slowly, tippy toe, tippy toe, tippy toe. And eventually the heels will get closer to the ground, and then you can lift up onto the fingertips and just waddle the rest of the way in. Bring the hands onto the hips, soft knees and a flat back, lift up. Inhale high with the hands, bring them into the heart. Exhale forwards with a long flat back, drawing the belly in, folding over the thighs. And then we're going to see if we can step back into our down dog again. Now from here, we're going to let ourselves take the right leg to the sky, point the toes away from us, so that it feels a little bit more like the buttocks are lifting the leg and trying to keep the hips nice and square. We'll bring the foot back down to the floor, take the left leg up. Try not to waver around too much through the hips. Going down through the toes. Allow yourself to bring that leg down to the floor. I'm going to take the right leg high, point out through the toes, draw the knee in towards the chest, and come forward, knee to nose. A little touch as the shoulders go over the wrists. We extend the leg back out, point through the toes. We come back in, forwards into the plank and tuck, and back, and through, and extend out. Foot comes to the floor. We'll do the same again. Point the toe out, long leg, scissor, and then knee to chest, travel through. Lengthen out, point out through the toes, coming forwards. For some reason I seem to have a Longer leg on the opposite side. Getting a lot closer. One side than I am on the other. Last time coming in. Lengthen the leg out. Ease the foot to the floor. So walk the feet to about halfway down the mat. Feet are hip distance apart. Let the hands come in towards the toes. Bring the hands onto the hips. And then slowly lengthen up. Just shake it out a little bit. And we're going to take ourselves into some balance work. So we want to bring the feet together, have a little gap for the heels. Find your point to focus on. We're going to load the weight into the left leg first of all. So press down so that the hip bone stays in tight towards that center line of the mat rather than sinking out into the hips. We're going to draw ourselves back up. Make sure we're happy with the balance in the left foot. Let the right knee come up. We'll take the hands around the shin. And then we're going to start to draw that right knee towards the right armpit. So as you draw the leg up, you will get kind of almost an involuntary buckle of the standing leg behind the back of the knee. And that happens, press the foot down into the floor more strongly. Get a ground reaction to lift you. And that will straighten the leg back out, and you'll feel your buttock lift a little bit more as well. Strong on the ankles and the knees, trying to hold yourself up on one leg, more than you realize. And then we'll release back down again. Shake that out, shake the legs out a little bit. Feet come together again. We have a right leg to play with. Hands in towards the heart. Press down. Make sure the feet are nicely, or the toes particularly, are nicely spread out. And then when you're ready, you lift slow. Now, if you move quickly, you tend to lose your balance more. So the slower you can bring the knee up, the slower you can reach the hands through, the more chance you have of keeping your balance. And then as you start to get confident, you draw the knee higher and higher. As we said before, a little towards the armpit. Try and keep the knee, chest, and shoulders, hips all pointing in the same direction forwards. And then relaxing back down again. So we use that ground reaction as our friend. It's like a shock absorber. It pushes us back up and straightens the leg for us. But it also stops us wobbling around quite so much. So if you get that bend in your knee, it's a bit sort of wayward. Yeah, that can cause problems with balance as well. Bring hands in towards the heart again. I'm going to load into that left leg. Press down strong. Now we're going to slowly bring the right knee, but we're only going to bring it to the height of the hip. And then we'll start to bring the heel in towards the bottom. Squeeze that in as well as we can. Take the right hand down and see if you can find your ankle. As you take your knee down towards the floor, walk your fingers out towards your toe. Bring your knees back together so they touch, squeezing the thighs, and the heel in towards your buttock. Try and keep your chest and your shoulder pointing forwards. Allow yourself to take the left hand up towards the sky, spread out through the fingers, so you get that biggest gap between little finger and thumb, but a fairly relaxed shoulder into a straight arm. Press the bent knee down towards the floor. Press the long leg down towards the floor. Try and stay nice and stable, more than I am. And then we can release. That one out. Shake out the ankles again. Bring the feet back together. Hands into the heart. Right leg presses down. Slow lift of the left knee. Draw the heel in. Left hand down, find an ankle. And then walk the fingers out to the toes. Bring the knees back together, heel in towards the buttock. Draw the knee down, square the chest, hips. Right hand lifts, spread out through the fingers. Slow release. Almost made it. Lost it the last bit. Then we're going to shake out the legs again. We're going to come into a full eagle pose. So feet together, really concentrating and focusing. If you're side by side, you might need to stagger a little bit. Send the arms out wide. Soften the knees over your toes. Tuck the tailbone down and the belly in. That's a little bit of a coccyx movement as the pelvis does that. And then we sit down a little lower on an exhale. Now you're going to slowly take the weight into the left leg. Lift the right, wrap it across, and see how close you can get to hooking your foot around the back of your calf. Bring the right arm across and the left arm over the top. Bring the palms together. And release it out. Shake out the standing leg. Feet come back together. Hands into the heart. And soften the knees again. Tailbone tucks under. Allow yourself to slowly lift the left leg. Wrap it across, thighs squeeze together. Take the foot as far around as you can. Arms out wide. Left arm across first, right arm over the top. Palms come together. And then a gentle release. I just lost it at the moment. I think it got important and complicated. I'm going to let ourselves step up to the front of the mat for a vinyasa. So we'll take the hands out wide. Hands into the heart, exhale back down to the floor. Soften the knees, jump back into plank. Let ourselves push forwards on the toes, elbows into the ribs, bootlaces down. Take the breath in and up, strong legs. Feel those buttocks working for you. Lift up the hips, and we're back into down dog. From there, we're going to take a step or a jump to the front of the mat. So if you're going to jump, you look towards the front of the mat, press the hips up and back first, bend the knees, get a little spring, and as you exhale, try to bring your feet through as close to the front of the mat as you can. Hands onto the hips. So that was a jump or a step. Step obviously has two legs, jump is one leg, joining together as two. Inhale high, hands into the heart, and we'll exhale down to the floor. Take the right foot back into lunge. Check the front knee is over the ankle or on the fingertips as we drew that. Draw the belly in and drop the heel in, ready for your warrior two. We'll bring the hands alongside the body. Float the right arm forwards, press down through that shin and thigh, lift into our warrior two. Strong legs pressing down. Hands into the heart. Rotate the chest, hips. As you come forwards, bring the hands to the floor, then lift the heels. Slightly different lift out of that. From some weeks we do that. Come from the down dog into plank, half plank, up dog, back into down dog. We're taking the right leg high to scissor. Draw the knee in towards the chest and through into the lunge. Take a breath. Press off the back toes. Forward fold. Hands onto the hips and we lift up. Put hands high into the heart. And exhale down. We'll take that left foot back into a lunge, fingertips, relax the shoulders, drop the heel in, warrior two. Hands alongside, left hand comes forwards, we cartwheel up. Bring the hands in towards the heart, rotate the chest and the hips, bring the body down, hands to the floor, spin the back foot into our down dog. Come forwards, plank, half plank to up dog, back into down dog. Scissor the left leg, draw the knee in towards the chest, foot through on the exhale, lunge. Press off the toes, forward and fold. Hands under the hips and we lift. Inhale high, hands into the heart. Exhale down to the floor. Right foot back into the lunge. Drop the heel in. Open it up into warrior two. Right arm comes forwards and we lift up. And this time we bring the hands high. We rotate chest and hips. Then we're going to lift the back heel and finish squaring the hips towards the front of the mat. And take a little breath, allow yourself to use the hands behind your back. Draw the hands down towards the floor as you interlace the fingers. And on the inhale, lift the hands towards the back of the mat. We're going to release the hands back down. Bring the hands to the floor. Step ourselves back into down dog. Come forwards into plank. Half and up. Back into down dog. Scissor the right leg. Knee into chest and through the lunge. Exhale into the forward bend. Hands onto the hips. And we'll do that second side left. Hands through the heart. Down to the floor. Left foot back and drop the heel in. Hands alongside to open up and lift. Take a little breath. Hands come high. Rotate. Spin the back heel. Hands come gently down behind. Interlace the fingers. Draw the shoulders back. Lift the hands. Exhale. You'll press through the back heel. Just making sure it feels like your hips are both the same distance from the front of the mat. Release the hands down to the floor. Into our down dog. Forwards to the plank. Half plank. Up dog as you breathe in. Exhale into your down dog. Left leg lifts and scissors. We keep the hips square, the toes point out, knee in towards the chest and through. So lunge and exhale a breath into a forward fold. Hands onto the hips and we'll lift up. Inhale high. Exhale and down to the floor. Right foot back and drop the heel in. Hands alongside. Right arm lifts to open up. Bring hands in towards the heart. Turn the chest. Allow yourself to just move slowly that back heel up towards the sky. You're going to slowly take the back knee down to the floor. Going to keep the toes tucked under. Allow the arms to go out wide in line with the chest. Bend at the forearms, palms spread. And then we're going to slowly squeeze the shoulder blades together. And as our heart lifts up towards the sky, I'm just going to let the eyes follow a little bit. Belly drawn in. Still pressing down through the legs. And then we'll bring the hands to the floor. Step it back into our down dog. Come forward into the plank and half and up. Right leg lifts. Knee in towards the chest. Through for the lunge. Press off the toes. Hands onto the hips. Lift up, last side. So we're taking left foot back. Hands alongside the body. Left arm draws us up. Hands come in towards the heart. Rotate. Front of the mat. Back knee slowly comes down. Take the arms out wide. Bend at the elbows. Shoulders squeeze back, chest lifts. Still pressing down through the legs. Hands come to the floor. Step back into our down dog. Forwards into plank. Half plank. Up dog. Down dog. Left leg lifts into a scissor, into chest, and then through into the lunge. Taking the breath, stepping forwards. Hands over the hips. Lift up. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. Wiggle the toes together gently so they touch, leave a gap for the ankle bones. Soften your knees over your toes. Tuck tailbone under, we're back into chair pose. We're going to take a rotated version of this, but we're going to take it slightly differently. We'll let the hands lift up in front of the shoulders. And we're going to take the right hand down and place it to the outside of that left hip, so it's going across the body. We're going to take the left hand up towards the sky, rotate the chest out to the left, and take the hand all the way towards the back of the mat, letting the eyes follow that hand to the rear of the mat. Squeeze the thighs together and keep the hips and knees pointed forwards and aligned. Some more breaths. Use that left hand back up. Bring the chest square to the ground. Right arm lifts out. Left hand out to the right side. Right arm lifts up, chest opens. Bring both hands back into the heart. Forward bend, down to the floor. Hands to come up onto the shins. Lengthen the body forwards. Forward it back down to the floor. Hands come onto the hips. We let ourselves lift, softening the knees. So always when the feet are together, it's a little bit harder on the lower back to lift up. So we'll take a little bit of caution there, folding ourselves in, make sure we're nice and loose. We'll take the feet back out to hip distance apart. Take a little breath. Got a really bad itch in my ear where the microphone is, just using the hand. Take a little breath and exhale down to the floor. And take the right foot back into the lunge. and drop the heel in, and we'll come up into our warrior two. So just bring the hands alongside, get that little lift. Right hand comes forwards and lifts up. Perfect. And then we're straight away going to lengthen into extended side angle. Bring the forearm down, so we press the thigh and the forearm together. Going to float the top arm up, and we're going to windmill that around. So we just take it past the eyes, down towards the floor, and back. And you try to keep your chest pointing to the long side of the mat. So it's the shoulder that's rolling around, not the torso. No movement through the spine. Bracing the arm and the leg. And then we'll lift ourselves back into warrior two. Turn the palm on the front hand and come into reverse warrior. Come through into warrior two. Bring the hands into your heart and keep the elbows high, chest broad. You're going to extend back into the same position we had before, the extended side angle. As you inhale, you're going to let the arms float open, and exhale, they come back. So the hands no longer pressing into that thigh. It's just the arms opening up, the chest opening out to the side. Hands stay in line with the chest. There's 5 of these, so that's number 3. 4, sometimes wish I breathe a bit quicker. 5. Bring the hands down to the floor, bottom hand. Top arm comes over and down to the ground. And we walk the fingers around to the long side of the mat, turning the toes in, heels out. Take a moment on the fingertips to send the hips back and find some balance. And then fold like a pendulum, swinging from the hips. Press down into the floor lightly with both feet. Feel the inner groin working for you rather than stretching out. One more breath. Lift up halfway. Walk fingers around to the front end of the mat into a luscious lunge and step into the forward fold. Hands come onto the hips. We lift up. Send hands high into the heart. Exhale down. Left leg goes back and drops into the center line. Warrior two, we lift. Cartwheel up. Take a breath, extend out. Forearm and thigh work. Top arm lifts up. Chest stays pointing to the side. Back foot keeps pressing down. We windmill around for 1. For 2. 3. Four. And 5. Sees the hand come back and move into warrior two. Turn the palm on the front hand, reverse warrior. Come back into our warrior two. Hands onto the heart, shoulders broad, elbows high. Come back into the same angle. Inhale, open up wide. Hands come back in. And the sun hand at the bottom comes down. Top arm follows. You walk the fingers around. Turn the toes in. Get a long spine. Fold down, and then see if you can take your hands under and through to the opposite side of the mat. Try and keep your shoulders away from the ears. Spread them out wide. And then bring the hands forward, lift up halfway, walk the fingers through to the front of the mat into our lunge. Take a little breath and step into the forward fold. Hands come onto the hips and we lift up. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. Exhale down. Step it back. Down dog, just as a transition to knees to the floor. Cat cow. Inhale, chest forwards. Let the spine ripple out. Inhaling through. Back into neutral, tuck the toes underneath, down dog. You take the right leg high, draw the knee in towards the chest and take the knee to the outside of the tricep on the right side. Come back, down dog, scissor leg, right leg lengthens out, knee comes in towards chest and then forward. Tap tricep, lengthen out, knee to chest. Come through, lengthen out, two more. Last one. And we get to practice with the left leg. Take the leg high, square hips, knee into chest, forwards, tap, extend out scissor. Knee to chest, tap, lengthen back, knee to chest, tap, two more. Last one. And the foot comes down to the floor, we come back into plank and knees to the ground underneath the hips. Immediately we take the right hand to the sky to thread the needle. Inhale up, fold it under and down. I'm going to see if we can take that left hand up towards the sky. Bring the hand back down, press into the floor to lift up, back into neutral. Left arm lifts up, folds under. And we try and take the right hand up. Still pressing the shins down, belly in. Bring the hand down, press into the floor. Whew, back onto all fours. We're going to swing the feet out. Let ourselves bring the bottom in, the block in towards the bottom. I am tired. The words are coming out back to front. So just taking the legs out in front, draw the flesh out a little bit. We're going to come into Janu Shirshasana. So we want to sit up nice and tall. Bring the right heel into the groin, knee out to the side, square the hips, a little bend in the knee, heel presses down, hand onto the shin. Going to exhale and fold forwards, keeping the head in line with the rest of the body. Take a little breath. Hopefully we're warmed up. We'll take the hands alongside the outside of the calf and the shin, and then slide your hands down towards your foot, maybe past. And you see how far you can get your hands forwards today. Maybe you can hold on to one wrist with the other hand. Maybe you can just get the fingers around the outside of the sole. Maybe you're still stretching for the ankle. You're going to press very lightly the left hip back, and draw the belly in so you start to work into a straighter leg. And then we're going to release and let ourselves come back up. So we got deep and then we let go. We'll bring the left heel in square, bending the knee, precautionary heel into the floor, lengthen the spine, roll the shoulders back, keep them loose, fold over, belly drawn in, just slow ease down, maybe over a couple of breaths, maybe 3. Always working on the chest forward. Then take the hands either side of the shin and the calf, forwards, and see if you can take the hands past. Once you have got as far as you can, you take a couple of breaths, keep it easy, and then you start to press that right hip back very lightly. It's a progressive move, not a snatch. We want the muscles and tendons and the nerves to understand where we're going rather than it being a big surprise to them. Last breath in, and then we release. Come back up. We're going to come to the floor. Allow ourselves to use the block behind the head. Hands behind, knees high. Draw the belly in and roll the spine gently down to the floor. Now, allow yourself to make sure that block is on your head, not pressing into your neck at all. And walk your feet in towards your bottom, as comfortable as they can, side by side. Going to take the left leg up towards the sky and turn the toes out with a flexed foot. Bend the knee and bring the ankle to the outside of that right thigh. The foot on the left stays flexed, and we take the left knee forwards. We're going to come up on the tiptoes of the right foot, draw the belly in, and figure 4, we draw the right leg in. We take the left hand through the center, see what we can find. We take the right hand around the outside of the right thigh and see if we can interlace some fingers somewhere. And then we just enjoy that nice stretch. And I'm going to release the hands, but try to keep the knees where they are. Take the hands out wide, crucifix style. Let your right foot ease down to the floor, just onto the tippy toes till it touches, and then roll your legs over to the right. So hopefully your left foot can land flat to the floor with the knee high. Turn the head gently to the left. Now I'm still trying to press lightly now down into the left foot, which is flat to the floor, and draw my knee up towards the ceiling. I'll bring it all back again. And stretch out. Left leg would take a little time to realign the spine. Right leg comes up, we turn the toes out, bend the knee, and we offer again. So foot stays flexed, the ankle bone is definitely to the outside of that thigh. We draw the right knee forwards, we come up onto the tippy toes. We start to draw the knee in towards the body. And we take the right hand through the center. Stand around the outside left. Interlace the fingers wherever we can find. Enjoy the stretch again. Try and draw the shoulders down and tailbone down if they feel lifted at all. That is a more relaxed position for them to be in, but quite often we come and we tense up. So we draw everything up and we have to kind of just think about putting it back to where we'd like it to be so it looks comfortable and feels comfortable. You can take a last breath here. Allow yourself to release the hands, but keep the knees where they are. Take the arms out wide again. Once you've done that, you're going to ease the foot, keeping the heel as close into the buttock. So you're kind of squeezing the calf and the thigh together. When the toe touches the floor, it's time to roll out to your left. One foot presses down, one knee lifts up. Lift back up from the center. Shake it out, realign. Bring the feet to the floor. Now it's time for Shavasana. So sliding the heels out to the corner edges of the mat, letting the feet roll out. And we'll bring the hands a little closer into the side of the body, enough so they've still got some air under the armpits, palms face up. Loosen the jaw, so licking the lips or talking, both do that. Close the eyes gently. We try and let everything sink down into the mat. Don't be frightened to wriggle around and adjust if you need to, just to bring yourself into a more restful place. When we first come in, the body doesn't automatically kind of find its optimum position. A little bit of residue of the work that we've done still holding into the body. So those little adjustments, think of that as just realigning those out of the body. To wiggle those fingers and toes. Give a few seconds for the body to reconnect everything back up. Allow the wrists and the ankles to begin to move. We feel even more coordinated, taking deeper breaths in. And then we use that energy to stretch out anywhere that feels good for us. following your instincts. And then we're going to slowly ease the heels in towards the body. And then we'll draw the knees in as well. I'm going to take the hands around the back of the thighs, so it's a really gentle hug. Just let the knees move in and wide. Rock on the back a little bit, just a fraction, so it feels good. And then on an exhale, I'm going to roll gently over to my right side with the knees drawn in. Take a breath down on the floor as I turn my body in towards the ground, and on the exhale, use the hands to lift and smoothly bring myself back up to sitting. Time to sit up straight, hands in the spine, hands into the heart as we take the eyes closed and the breath in. Slow exhale, dropping the chin, drawing the belly to the spine to seal our practice as we bow to the floor. Inhaling, letting the spine build with the breath until it's easy to lift the head and open the eyes. Namaste. Have a lovely weekend. Thank you for joining and playing along. See you soon.